Gentlemen, y'all strive for gold in your life, right? Gold medals, gold watches, gold everything. However, there is a certain type of man who goes the extra mile. He walks with confidence of a lion and he giggles in the face of danger. He's a big, hairless winning machine, and when he unzips his pants, he sees platinum. That's right. Manscaped would like to announce that their biggest and best ultimate hygiene bundle, the Platinum Package 4.0, is now available worldwide. JT, Manscaped is the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Now trust them with your whole hygiene routine.
Amazing. Amazing. Give this man the Academy Award.
This is the real deal, guys, but in seriousness.
No, it's great. It's actually great.
We got the Platinum 4.0 package. They sent it to us.
Yes.
We've both been using it.
Yep.
And I believe that for a hairy gentleman, you had success.
I did. When I was on the road and I was traveling overseas, it was actually awesome. Not surprisingly, but, I also get a bit hairy shoulders, hairy forearms. It just across the board, the thing that really I loved was is really quick. And battery life was great. And it's a compact little unit. It does the business.
Yeah.
It was really good. I'm a fan. Like I didn't know what to expect at first, but now I'm like total convert. It's really good.
I'm exactly the same. And look, so you guys know what's up. Manscaped have partnered with us to sponsor the show. So we'll be plugging them on the show, the audio version and also the YouTube one. And we're super stoked to do that because we both use the product. I actually used it before they sent us the 4.0 package, and I've always been a supporter of it. I like staying clean and tidy, and Manscaped helps me do that. So check it out. You too can have this same level of hygiene. You can get 20% off and free shipping when you use the code GRIZZLY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. It's time you enjoyed the finer things in life. Get yourself a platinum package for your platinum package.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Bulletproof for BJJ podcast. I am JT, and I like to eat lots of food. And I'm also with Joey. He also enjoys lots of food.
Not quite as much as this guy.
Possibly not.
I actually eat more like a bird these days.
True. I have noticed that you have refined your eating habits.
I'm middle-aged now.
Oh. I thought it might have been something else, but that's okay. I watch everything that Joe does. He doesn't think I do because I'm just scoffing food. But I'm like, how come he ain't eating so much?
Why only one piece of toast?
What's going on with that? It's psychological warfare. No, today is an interesting topic because we're discussing this. To create or to compete? Is being competitive holding back your BJJ? Because, I don't know, depending on who you're rolling, like maybe it's your business partner, you've got to put some smack on them for trying to big dog you at the meeting. Depending on the situation.
Or maybe it's some dickhead that you ended up getting into business with.
Yeah, or maybe it's someone at the cafe who's telling you to pipe down and you've got a good story and you need to talk loudly, especially if you had 2 espressos. You know how it is. But I think the thing is here, guys, many of us want to be competitive. We don't want to feel like we're getting beaten up or owned or any of that. And therefore, we go to our A game. We've got to win, And I mean, I'm a very competitive person, but this was definitely drummed into me from being in Brazil. It was very much like fight to win. Like if you don't go hard, then you should quit. Like get better or die type.
Yeah.
It's a bit polarizing because obviously there's a lot of gray area there. But I think that definitely the thing that came up just this morning was a bit of a change in the philosophical approach.
That's right.
Joe.
Guys, I'm here to tell you that I've seen the light and I've changed my ways. And it's only taken me 13 years to realize this moment.
Amazing.
No, so I'll tell you what it is. I've been like, it's probably been a bit of a rough relationship with jiu-jitsu for me since I had my knee surgery, in truth. But post-knee surgery, I was like, or before my knee injury, I was really on track to get my black belt. Yes. So once I was back on the mats post-surgery, I was like, I'm back on this path. I want to get that black belt, and I got it. But it definitely wasn't like, it wasn't an easy road like that bit. Purely because I just like a lot of what I used to do didn't work anymore and my game had really kind of suffered a bit and whatever. Don't cry for me, guys. But so I've now got that black belt and I've been training for a bit and I've been kind of having somewhat of an existential crisis about how I engage with jiu-jitsu. Because what I notice now is 38, body's a little bit sorer than it used to be.
Sure.
Knee's fucking stiff. Oh, man, I notice my other knee gets a little bit sore sometimes if we're playing a lot of leg locks.
Sure.
I'm like, all right, I'm noticing it's changing for me. And I, obviously we think about jiu-jitsu a lot. We think about the community, we think about you guys. We talk about this shit all the time. So I'm always pondering how this journey plays out, because I know that the way I looked at it when I was in my 20s was completely different to how I look at it now.
Yeah.
Right now I have to actually question, can I keep doing this?
Yeah.
Whereas in my 20s, I never once thought that. You
never
just
think that.
fucking stand and bang.
Go for it.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Anyways, so one of my training partners, shout out to Lockie, fucking great guy, really good purple belt over at Gracie Balmain.
Yes.
Teaching me a lot of stuff, right? He's a real no-gi specialist, and he's been teaching me a lot of stuff, and we go to war with each other. And it's great. And it's like, he catches me this week, I catch him next week, and it's, we have those epic rolls. And the beauty is for me, I can still roll like that, right? That, like I used to, when I was 27 or whatever.
Sure.
But I notice now that I'm like, I don't think this is such a good idea for me. Anyway, I think I'm scrolling Instagram the other day and a fucking Joe Rogan clip pops up. I listen to a little bit of Joe Rogan. I'm not a disciple by any means. But a clip pops up of him talking to someone about jiu-jitsu, and he's saying how someone said to him once, like, the secret to long-term jiu-jitsu or success with jiu-jitsu or something is keep it playful.
Right.
I think it's Henna and Hiron Gracie say that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And you can see that, right, in kind of their style.
Yeah, they're humorous guys.
And I'm like, playful. I'm like, man, like, I'm not a playful guy at jiu-jitsu. Like, I can be playful when it's like, oh, there's the new white belt, or it's a girl that's like half my weight.
Sure.
I can fuck around.
Yeah.
And just not do not take it seriously and change position. But I'm like, as soon as it's like someone that could potentially offer, someone that could bring the heat, it's on.
Yes.
And this is what happens every time we roll, right?
Of course.
And I was like, man, I would like to be more playful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, there's all these positions that I'm trying to learn. Say all this no-gi stuff that I'm like, shit, I want to dive into this and learn more about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to learn this stuff if I continue to like compete in training.
Yeah.
I have to open myself up to trying new things.
Definitely.
In order to be able to explore these different positions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and also actually the thought of taking like a lighter kind of approach to the majority of my training actually seems quite appealing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's less like putting that pressure on myself.
It's less mentally intensive.
Yeah.
It takes that weight off. Yeah.
Right? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Lockie and I won't go to war again, or that I won't go to war with anyone else on a given day. But it's more
so
just...
if you show up here to Jungle Brothers, you better fucking bring it.
Yeah, guys, it's on. I'm the fucking enforcer around here.
Matt enforcer.
If I show up to class.
If he comes.
Yeah, I'm usually not there, so don't worry about it. Feel free, guys, jump in. But I'm like, oh, wow. Like I'll keep that as like the racetrack thing that I do sometimes.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, 50, 70, 80% of the time, I'm going to try and be a little bit loose with it. So when I turned up to training yesterday, I was like, hey, boys, I've had an epiphany. This is what's going down. And Lockie was like, man, that sounds cool to me. Like, I think we'll probably learn way more if we don't go as hard on each other.
Yeah. And
I was like, yeah, I think it'd be good. And we did that. We probably, I don't know, we probably went a little bit too light. And we're both like maybe giving up a bit of position and stuff. But I took away a lot more from the round that we had. And I'm like, man, there's a sweet spot there.
There's something there.
Yeah. And I walked out of the gym and I'm like, body's feeling good. I was in bed last night. I was like, body's feeling good. Nice. Normally when you'd feel the little aches.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, and I think that, I'm not prescribing this to anybody because everyone engages with it in their own way. Sure. But I'm like, I think it's a good thing for me to take more of a playful approach more regularly with my training.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I actually feel like I've thought similarly to this for a while, but I still set myself an objective in a role. It may not be a submission, but it might be like, I got to get the back. I got to find a way at some point in this 5, 8, 10-minute round to get the back. However that happens. And if I get that, then that's my win, And I think depending on what you're working on, it's always good to have the idea of an intention, but not get too hooked up in the path. I trust my skills to get me there. Now, if you're earlier on in jiu-jitsu and you're like, I have no idea how to get the back, okay, you have to definitely learn the steps. And it's hard.
Yeah, they would focus more on a technique,
wouldn't
they?
Yeah, and be more technique focused. But I definitely think as you go along, there's a lot to be found in being not really hard focused on the outcome, which is the win or the points or whatever. Going with it a little bit more can often free you up, because the hardest thing when you're rolling is the fight or flight instinct. You're back here in your lizard brain. You're all hormones like, let's go. There's not a lot of thinking there. But when you're rolling, if you're either free enough in your mind or relaxed enough, you can access your kind of prefrontal cortex, and then you can actually make some really good decisions. So you might go, I think I might be able to. Maybe it's an armbar, or like it's, I believe personally that's the fun. That's when you're having a great time. When you kind of pull something out you didn't expect, they didn't expect, and you're both like, oh, check that out.
Yeah.
You have these moments, because essentially we are like tiger cubs rolling around, just wrestling and playing, and we put all this serious meaning on it, but it's not, it's all very contrived. We've talked about that before. Jiu-jitsu, the art, the sport, it's all within constraints, Yeah,
it's an abstract environment. This thing that we've agreed is like our holy grail.
Yeah, and it can be really serious. I used to count every point. And on a subconscious level, I still do. I'm still kind of ticking over. In the same way, I used to count every calorie when I was eating. I knew the calorie count of everything. I could tell you to the dot how many calories I'd had. And I could probably still tell you now, but it doesn't, I just kind of let it run by. I'm not as attached to it. Like, if I don't do this perfectly, then I'm a terrible person. In the same way, if I don't get every advantage and every point, then I'm not good at jiu-jitsu. It's not true.
Yeah.
I think what I've learned from people way better than me is they actually look very relaxed. The best people, even when it's like at the heart of really intense competition, they look so chill.
Yeah.
Oh, man, how could I be more? I aspire to that. I aspire to roll with that calm peace of mind and finding some playfulness in it. I try to not to disrespect anybody, but if I am rolling someone a lot lighter than me or a lot lower rank, I will be much freer in my grips, and I won't try and hold on to or squash, just because there's no value in that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's probably better for both parties to just let go a little bit and just be like, oh well, if I get tapped, I get tapped, and like people always used to say that Bernardo, and I actually saw Bernardo get choked out by a blue belt.
Does he get tapped or get put to sleep?
Well, put to sleep in class.
Right.
But he would tap very regularly in training.
Yeah.
And a lot of the other kind of senior guys at Alliance were like, oh, that's soft.
Yeah.
What's he doing?
He just lost.
Tapped? Yeah, but he's constantly making mistakes to learn from them. And then when it came to competition, he was incredibly dominant.
I believe Gary Tonin has a very similar approach.
Right.
I heard, he taps all the time in training because he's just fucking exploring shit.
Yeah.
But then everyone knows his competition credentials.
Oh, he's so playful though. You can see that in his style.
Yeah. But I think it's being able to see both sides, and obviously there's a huge value in being able to go hard when it matters and not concede points and try to win. I say like my most competitive training relationship is with my coach Adam.
Yes.
Adam Childs, and we do have some roles where it's a bit lighter, and it's usually
Adam's crossface does not inspire creativity.
No, Adam
inspires vengeance.
When he passes, it or when he does anything, it's
so heavy.
That's right. And so with him, it's a different thing. Maybe if one of us is coming back from an injury, it's like we'll play around a little bit, but usually it's like points on the board kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's fine, right? But we don't roll together all the time, and and whatever. I know that when I show up to training, he relishes the opportunity to roll hard with me because he can go turbo.
Another black belt.
Yeah,
put it on.
But yeah, so it's a very interesting thing. Like I look back and think, oh, why didn't I adopt more of this earlier? And I think it was just similar to we've spoken about, like similar to having an intention with your training, showing up to a session with an idea of what you want to work on. It's kind of often just not having the thinking about it. And just showing up and falling back into the pattern of doing what you always do.
Yeah.
And that's great. You have fun, it works and whatever, but it's like, oh, wow. Like if you have a time, and I know you've spoken about this in the newsletter that you used to write, which was like actually making time in a year to sit down and like review your jiu-jitsu when you're not there on the mats. Like, do it separately, think about it, come up with some ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, you do see athletes or practitioners who do that. You know, they do drilling, they do light rolling, they do more competition-based rounds. Yeah. And I think if you're doing that, I believe that's the answer.
Yeah. And this is something I got from he got the quote from somewhere else. I don't know the attribution. This guy called Patrick Collison, and he's the CEO of Stripe. The Collison brothers are super smart guys. And he said, you know, we don't learn from experience, we learn from reflection. So even though, we gain some kind of understanding from doing things, it's when we stop and look back at them that we can not try and project meaning onto them, but just go, okay, what worked, what didn't, and that process of thinking is important. And you know, we've all got confirmation bias, right? Like if we're in that mode of I need to win, then it's about winning and being right, and I'm right and they're wrong, and this kind of thing. When actually you could be like, what they did was actually really good. And I think you see that sometimes, which is cool. Maybe you did a move successfully, and someone after the roll be like, yo, what was that? Can you show it to me? Because they want to learn.
Yeah.
And the creativity and it's not even a removal of ego. It's just like an acknowledgement of that's really good. I also would like to do that thing.
Yeah.
You did it successfully to me. How could I know this? And the people who are open to that, and I believe being open requires a degree of humility to go, you're better at this than me. Please share with me. That is actually a super key ingredient to people getting better, is the acknowledgement of I am a bit ignorant here. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, especially, I think it's a very natural dynamic when it's a lower rank asking a higher rank, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You almost expect them to ask, oh, what, you know.
Yeah.
But when you're the black belt and you're asking a blue belt, hey, how did you?
What was that?
Yeah, what was that? Like, I think I agree. Like lately, I've been that guy asking the stupid question. Hey, man, how did you escape that heel hook? He's like, oh, I just did the basic heel hook escape. Okay, got it. Thanks,
amazing.
Man. Yeah. But it's like, it's cool, right? Like you can learn from that person in that moment. Yeah. So why not learn, right?
Yeah, you can learn from anyone. I think belts sometimes can cloud our judgment as well.
Shout out Bobby Sander.
True. We can, it's true. Yeah, good call, good call. On the mat, not at a seminar. But no, seriously though, guys, you can learn from anyone. Like I have actually learned a bunch from a white belt guy I used to train with. But the thing that he did, he actually did like a bit of kind of pancrase-esque catch wrestling stuff.
Right.
But it was like 20 years ago. But he had some weird moves.
Got that Frank Shamrock instructional VHS.
From 1992. And he was always doing weird stuff. And you're like, God, it's so awkward to work with this guy. But he had some moves. There's something there. Even though he just looked like a white belt dude, he had some knowledge of grappling that none of us had. And even though he wasn't particularly good, he was pretty open about it. He's happy, oh, yeah, I'll show you what it is. You think, oh, that's really interesting, because it's just a different way to look at how to move the body. And being playful allows you to do stuff that you're not good at, which it opens up more jiu-jitsu, I believe. So if you are actually trying to grow in jiu-jitsu, as much as sometimes if you're just trying to master a technique, you just focus on that and trying to execute it on, you know, can I get to work on a blue belt? Will it work on a purple belt? And, you know, work your way up the levels. Just being able to be playful also helps you remove the emotional damage from lack of success.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I would make the point there that, like, say, you know, I made this point before the episode to JT, like, I just kind of came to this conclusion in the last 48 hours. Like, let's catch up in a couple months and see if I've managed to stick to the plan, right?
Joey's reverted right back.
Yeah.
Creativity sucks.
Yeah, bro. Being playful is fucking not a good idea, guys.
Never
Don't
win.
do it. Yeah. But I still go into each role with an intention. But it's slightly different in terms of like, like yesterday, I just wanted to work my guard. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I never invert.
Right.
As an example.
Sure.
I just don't invert because it's just not part of my game.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I'm just going to fucking invert. I want to invert and I want to look for K-guard entries and I want to just explore that. And obviously alongside that is, well, I got to retain my guard as well.
The birth of Joey Bolo.
Right? So that was so I had that intention, which was really good because
it's nice.
it kept me on track with working on something and like continuing to practice it. But also I was intentionally going about it in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, to how I normally would.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to get to the back. I'm still trying to get to a leg entanglement.
Yeah.
But through a new road, which was, it was cool.
Yeah.
Fucking look out, guys. Instructional coming soon.
Yeah, BJJ Fanatics, he's going to be dropping it. No, I think it's really cool. It's really nice. I know that I had breakthroughs when people higher than me let me work a bit. Like at different points in my life, I was like, oh, I'm about to get brutalized. And they were just really playful with me. And that actually, it increased my level of admiration for them, but also it allowed me to do things that I hadn't done before. And I didn't think, I got them. I was like, oh, they let me do that. How generous of them to do that, you know? Yeah. And then that's where I feel like the playfulness, the creativity has a double benefit. It benefits you and then that gives your partner an opportunity or permission to do something similar. And I think there's goodness in both those things.
Tell me this, we were talking about it before, drilling.
Oh, here we go. Here's a topic.
You drill? Currently?
Currently, not heaps. Possibly because I haven't been as focused on jiu-jitsu development. But if I pick a technique, I will drill the hell out of it. I think that's, even though I philosophically, for those of you who remember, shout out Kit Dale. Thanks for listening. Kit came out with this thing of like, don't drill, like the anti-drill philosophy thing. But I know for sure, having kind of been friends with Kit and teammates at one stage, as a white, blue, purple belt, he was drilling.
Right.
To develop his skills. But once he hit brown belt, he's like, okay, how am I going to be different from Keenan Cornelius and the Meow Brothers? And they just drill, right? That's all they do. I'm going to say no drilling. And people are like, what? How did Kit get so good
Like
at no drilling?
How to be different, like publicly.
Yeah, real point
or
of
like when we
differentiation.
compete.
Well, no, but kind of both.
Right.
And I think part of it was also because Kit doesn't like to train the volume that those guys do.
Yeah.
It was really funny because he made a post which was like, oh, look at what like not drilling got me. And, you know, Kit was an achieved competitor at that time. And then Keenan Cornelius put something else up which is like, look at what drilling got me. He's got like quadruple the medals, you know? Like it's a different mentality. And I think at different stages, I believe that like whether it's lifting, doing ballet, any kind of skill, specifically jiu-jitsu, which I feel is super complicated, it is really important to break things down into their component parts and just get a feel for it. Because when I do it, I know with my body proportions, it will feel different to someone else's.
Yeah.
Like Adam. Adam's got super long legs, right? He's all shin bones. So for him to do it, the mechanics are a little bit different. And so if I'm trying to then communicate that to my students, I will say, you know, like my shins are a bit shorter, so it's easier to do this or harder to do that. And then I know that they're going to go through their own process. And I believe that you do learn certain things proprioceptively doing something under minimal resistance, and then you just dial it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it does change as the resistance increases. And I think the value in the drilling is more like self-awareness. And oftentimes when I've gotten injured, it's when I was like full of adrenaline going as hard as I could. And at that point in time, there was no awareness of what my body was doing. I was just all action going as hard as I could. And then snap, pop, whatever it might be. And yourself, drilling.
Yeah, I've never drilled. Like really, scarcely.
Right.
And it's kind of always been something that I've always had in my mind that I should do more of that. But it's just been the way it's worked out for me. I've never been extremely dedicated in that way. So I would like show up to classes and stuff, but really I wasn't the guy doing extras. And so I still look at it and think, yeah, I should do more of that.
Yeah.
You know, but that's never been a thing.
Yeah, I guess like the best guys that I've admired or aspired to be like, they all drill. Like they would show up an hour or two early and they would just drill. And it's more just that it's trying to put something complicated from the front of your brain to just your subconscious.
Yeah.
So then when you're rolling, it's just so automatic. There's no thought energy put on it. And that's, and I found that too. And they talk about, flow state, when you're just going for it, you're not thinking, you're just doing it.
Yeah, I would say that like on this topic of kind of creativity and opening up new patterns and stuff, it's an essential facet of that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Because otherwise you will just always rely on what it is that you know.
Yeah.
You won't be opening up new avenues to get from point A to point B.
Definitely. And I think when we talk about the competitive versus creative element, whatever your motivation is, whether it's to win or have fun or however you approach it, there's a time and place to be very focused and not concede a sweep or not, make sure you pass, like really push yourself to achieve your outcome. And then there's other times where it is so much more beneficial to be like, yeah, okay, I got swept. What's that mean? Like we always think, oh, the coach is watching. There's 2 points on the scoreboard. There's no scoreboard. It's just like, oh, I just hit that mad sweep. You look around, no one's watching.
Yeah.
Like it's only in your head. So as long as I think you are developing the skill, being able to switch in and out of that competitive to creative mode, that will help you go a lot further, I think, than just kind of sticking just so hard to the I must win mentality.
We've got a couple of voicemails that have come through.
Oh, yeah.
Should we do, we got 2 right here.
Please play. Let's
right.
go.
First message is from Juan.
Hello guys, my name is Juan Giordana. I'm a big fan of all your content. My question is related to the Foundation Gym program. There are some exercises where I must use a single leg or arm separately, and I'm not sure about the amount of repetitions that I should use. For example, with the Cossack squats or the bent over row exercises, if I do 12 reps on each side, the whole workout takes me like 10, 15 extra minutes to complete. Is that the intended approach I should take to perform the exercises, or I should do 6 reps on each side? Thank you, and best regards from Argentina. Big fan of all your content.
What a legend.
Shout out Juan.
Awesome. We connect with him a lot on the Instagram. Juan Giordana.
Yes.
For anyone that, didn't catch that beautiful accent.
Yeah, lovely.
So just to clarify, he's asking our foundation strength programs. Yes. We have a lot of like single-sided work, unilateral exercises, and we'll say, hey, it's like 3 sets, 12 reps, 4 sets.
Well, it'll be 8 to 12. So there's a bracket.
Range.
There's a bracket there.
So he's like, am I doing all of those reps on both sides, or am I splitting it and doing half on one, half on the other?
One. You are doing them on both sides, my friend.
Yeah.
And for all of you out there who've never seen our program, it's not an extensive list of exercises. The maximum amount of exercises you might do in a workout is kind of 6, not including, say,
6 working exercises.
Working exercises, And so if one superset of exercises or one exercise takes you 10 minutes, that's okay. Like the idea is that we'd love you to get that workout done inside of an hour. So also you want to have a look at the rest time. There's 2 factors here. Obviously, we want you to be able to maintain good technique for all of those reps. But the reason why we put, say, 8 to 12 is you might start with a given weight on a movement and you can only just get 4 sets of 8, say. But then next time you might want to add a rep to each set, and you just gradually build it. And then once you can do 4 sets of 12, then scale it back, and this is probably something that we should, it's cool that we get a chance to talk about it now, but we should probably be a little bit more explicit about it. And just know that if it's a Cossack, like you aren't just working on strength, you're working on your mobility there. And in that regard, I would say more is better. That's my take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a volume thing.
Yeah.
That's all. So push on, Juan, do all of the sets and all of the reps on both sides.
Power to you.
Next one, Leah.
Hey guys, been loving the podcast. I'm just about 2 months in at training at a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu gym and I'm loving it so far, but I'm extremely accident prone. I already tore both shoulder capsules a few years ago, partially torn my PCL in my left leg, and I have a crush fracture in my spine from an accident 7 years ago. Now, I've never had surgery and always rehabbed myself being a health professional, but I'm incredibly flexible due to all the laxity in my body. Contortionist level can touch my head to my sacrum, and my shoulders can just bend in all different types of ways.
Wow.
I have a really strong sporting background at the moment. I currently do 2 strength sessions, a push and a pull a week, and 3 cardio-based sessions, a run, a bike, and a swim, as well as 2 sessions at jiu-jitsu. My question is, which one of your programs is going to be best for me? I'm not sure if I need mobility or if I need strength, but I definitely know that I need to be bulletproof. Thanks.
Nice.
Wow, Leah's doing the work.
She's doing a lot.
And that's a pretty hefty bucket list of injuries. I'm assuming because she said she's only been training jits a couple of months, that those injuries aren't from jits.
No.
Yeah. However, can't help but make the observation, if you are accident prone, jits is a tough,
Yeah.
You got to really want to do jits.
Definitely.
Because I would say you're in a higher risk category.
I believe so. And from what it sounds, with this one, Leah, you are very flexible. You're like, I don't know if I need strength or mobility.
Sacrum, just think about being able to touch your head to your butt. That's what she's talking about.
That's insane.
That's awesome.
It's incredible. It's impressive, but also dangerous. So that's the other end of the spectrum, which not many people necessarily experience, is too much movement. And you're saying there's laxity in the joints. You probably need some functional stiffness around your joints, some support. So I would actually recommend that you would maybe look to do an extra day of resistance training. And really, when we talk about being accident prone, because I actually had a period of time where I would always smash my head into things. This is a couple of years ago. And it was really a lack.
Guys, when you're walking and you just run your head into a brick wall? Well, it happens to all of us.
You know how you might lean forward to tie your shoes, but maybe you're too close to a sink. And when you stand up, you actually break the sink. I don't know if anyone's ever had that. Maybe not. I got that Homer Simpson head. I got that extra layer of fluid, smaller brain. Here's the thing. It's a lack of mindfulness. I used to really not pay attention to anything, and I used to rush a lot. And this actually resulted in me injuring myself. And I'm not saying this is you, Leah, but I am saying that, oftentimes if someone says, oh, I'm clumsy or I make mistakes, often it can be not bringing your attention to the task at hand. And jiu-jitsu really calls for that. And that's super important. So just as a random side tip, if you catch yourself, and I am somebody who's impatient, and I am someone who has a tendency to rush, that's usually when I make bad mistakes. And honestly, if we're talking about your body, and it sounds like you've had plenty of injuries, I would recommend, if you can, to try to slow things down a little bit and probably spend a little bit more time on the self-awareness piece to prevent further injury. But from what it sounds like, you probably need more strength and stability more than you need mobility. Joe?
Yeah, it's a great tip there, just on the mindset around it. I think to Leah's question regarding which program of ours, I would say that foundation strength is going to be the best for you. I don't foundation strength does have mobility included in it. It's not a huge emphasis, but it is going to build strength through your ranges of motion, and you already have all the ranges. Right? So what it's going to be doing is just making you stronger through the majority of that range. We're not going to be trying to build strength when your head is connected to your sacrum.
No.
Right? But I think that's the best way to go about it. What I would say is you don't add that on top of the strength training you're already doing.
Yeah.
That will be too much based on what you're telling us. Sounds like you got to have a pretty demanding training schedule. So I would ditch your other strength training and I would do that. Yeah. And I would say, if you wanted to add a third day, because that program's 2 days a week, a third day of just bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Not even focusing on range, just focusing on building muscle, because to your point, JT, that's that functional stiffness. That's building some armor around your joints and around you. Think of it just like cladding on the body.
Exoskeleton.
Yeah, that's the important stuff for you. Great fucking question.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. Guys, thank you. There's another couple here. We'll go next week on the next episode. If you do want to leave us a voicemail, you can do it on our website, bulletproof4bjj.com. Just go to the podcast tab and you can record your voicemail there. And of course, if you want help with your training, if you want to know about these programs we've been speaking about, you can do a free trial. Go to our webpage, sign up for the free trial, you get a week free, and then the subscription is super cheap. And if you use the code BJJ Podcast, you'll get 20% off your sign up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Sick.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, brah. Cheers, fam.